有办法了，我前女友也喜欢干这种店。看我怎么让他掉头，炸！网上买了一块存款过亿的极端可假金条，卡包放在女朋友一堆快递里面，假装被发现，
小手一滑。
开车我先换衣服，待会儿基本上结束，咱们直接杀回去。
看我不是他。
提前来买，给他打一个视频聊天查岗。
你干嘛呀？我在外面逛街呢，你看我你买的衣服好看吗？
是吗？有。
你直问我那个胖老表明天要在店里上班了。
那家好好教他做，他做不来哟，他第一次。
我们店里有人教这个系统的，你不用考虑到。
杨春儿，煮饭噻，那边会儿来了，今晚吃啥子？听不来。
泡的面积60度。
前几年这个最高给你们83万，你不来。
我的亲娘，那时候没买那套房子的话，卖了过后我们住哪儿呢？
就住不住？那现在少了80万，我们不买。
你怕是想多了，今非昔比了。我们那套房子是13年买的，当时买的时候。
你跟我想吃羊串儿，
你想吃吧？
你们看那媳妇儿当得好，晚上5点半了还没煮饭吃了。哪个时候出去吃没看？你跟我想吃羊。
醫保保費越加越貴，轉過嚟煲呔幫你慳足35%保費。點解煲呔可以平咁多？因為煲呔冇 agent，直接由客服同 session 團隊跟進你嘅 case。 即時幫你慳翻啲佣金，免除中間人嘅成本。另外，煲呔不時提供多款早期疾病檢測，例如喺2021年為所有自願醫保客戶提供免費身體檢查，亦喺2022年贊助過千名高危客戶進行早期鼻咽癌篩查等，等你可以及早發現病變，提供治癒率。長遠嚟講，你嘅保費都會平啲，達至雙贏局面。煲呔保費平之餘，實際賠償率仲有保證。即刻轉嚟煲呔，仲有保費限時優惠㗎！煲呔全港銷售 No.1 網上保險。
云到喽，3环死喽！红爸，灵魂收割，死过。这大闸蟹的膏软糯到有点接近粘土的那种程度了。它自己的生蚝本身很甘甜、很新鲜、很清爽，口感非常的有层次。义无反顾，重一次，自信何在？
past 5 years, we have witnessed the birth of countless excellent teams and players in all 5 major regions. They are still remembered by us to this day. At the same time, we also remember our fans who loved us from the very beginning. On the occasion of this 5th anniversary, let's turn back the clock to the starting point of PUBG Mobile Esports. The Southeast Asian region where all the stories began. As the first World Class event, PUBG Mobile Star Challenge gathered professional players from all over the world. With continuous development, the 2019 PUBG Mobile Club Open Global Finals is undoubtedly the most exciting event.
2019 Fall Split Global Finals, ladies and gentlemen, give yourself a round of applause!
Among the countless rising stars, one shined particularly bright. Bigatron Red Aliens, a team from Indonesia.
Bigatron Red Aliens!
Just got first place in the PMCO Southeast Asia Fall Championship, earning the chance to compete in the PMCO Global Finals in Malaysia. In the subsequent prelim stage, intense competition kicked off immediately. And finally, they advanced to the Grand Finals in 2nd place. BTR demonstrated impeccable strength in the competition. By the end, BTR was leading the lobby by a significant 106 points, bringing the first ever championship title to the SEA region.
Di saat itu siapa yang nggak kenal dengan nama Bigatron gitu? Tim yang punya segudang prestasi, mereka juara dunia di PMCO Global Finals tahun 2019. Mereka banyak banget melahirkan pemain-pemain berbakat. Zuxi, Luxi, Ryzen, Microboy. Terus habis itu Zuxi, Luxi juga saat mereka menjadi juara dunia, mereka berada di masa prime-nya mereka banget.
PUBG Mobile Esports always strives to develop and grow year after year. That's why we made sure to continue to support and build the SEA. In 2020, the improvement of the competitive schedule introduced the World League, which later became the World Invitational. We also launched the PUBG Mobile Pro League, where even more outstanding teams joined the competitive stage. In the 2020 PMWL, BTR once again clinched the championship in the East. This had given Southeast Asia the title of the strongest region in the world. They hoped to continue their legacy at the PUBG Mobile Global Championship, the pinnacle of PUBG Mobile Esports. However, BTR was not able to repeat their performance from the previous year.
This round, winner chicken dinner, Nova XQL.
With the rise of Team Nova, countless brilliant moments were had, but this also left many players with regret.
After BTR Red Alien won the Global Championship in Kuala Lumpur, we thought C region was the best. We thought nobody could beat C region except maybe RRQ Athena, maybe Illuminate the Murder, maybe Mega Conqueror. But C region was the best at the time. And we get to the league. We heard of a team called Nova. We thought maybe this team is not that good. On the contrary, they owned all the teams. They were very good.
Let's move forward to the year 2021. With continuous efforts, more teams and players joined the Pro League. For example, Xavier, who placed third in the 2020 PMWI East League, also secured second place in the PMGC East League. FaZe Clan also made their debut on the world stage.
Có thể nói 2021 là năm thành công nhất của Dingo Xavier trên đấu trường quốc tế, khẳng định vị thế và tên tuổi của Việt Nam vô cùng mạnh mẽ. Còn với FaZe Clan, đây là năm đầu tiên họ đặt chân đến với giải đấu cao cấp nhất của PUBG Mobile, nhưng lại khiến tất cả những đối thủ khác đều phải dè chừng và e ngại.
Undoubtedly, the year 2022 has brought the greatest changes to the SEA region. Vampire Esports emerged, dominating 2022 PMWI, winning both the main and after-party tournaments, while also setting records for most chicken dinners, most eliminations, and more. They were not only facing competitors from the SEA region, but from all over the world. Everyone was talking about VPE and wondering if they can maintain their performance at the Global Championship or if it was just a stroke of good luck. On the last day of the 2022 PMGC Grand Finals, VPE won 3 chicken dinners alone, moving from the bottom of the table to 6th place, achieving the best result for the SEA region. They pulled off another miracle, but sadly, it was not enough to win it all. In 2023, VPE continued their impressive performance. They once again won everything at the 2023 PMWI.
2023 PUBG Mobile World Invitational Champions, Vampire Esports!
ก็ย้อนกลับไปในปีที่แล้วนะครับเอาจริงก็ผมมองว่าน่าจะโอ้โหไม่มีใครที่จะมองว่าทางฝั่งตัวแวมไพร์จะซักเซสได้ถึงขนาดนั้นนะครับเพราะยุคนั้นเหมือนทุกคนจะโฟกัสไปทางฝั่งตัวอินฟินแล้วก็เฟซแคนที่มีแบบว่าผู้เล่นดังๆนะครับแล้วก็ถ้าจำมันได้เหมือน PMGC ปีล่าสุดมากินไก่แบบเบิ้ลติดๆกันในวันสุดท้ายเหมือนเอาจริงน้องๆก็เคยบอกเลยว่าเฮ้ยเราเครียดกันไปหรือเปล่ามาเป็นตัวเองดีกว่าเล่นแบบปล่อยจอยได้แบบจอยเลยสุดท้าย3กระติดจบอันดับ6ของโลกซะอย่างนั้นนี่นะครับแวมไพร์สปอร์ตเดี๋ยวเชื่อจัด
But don't forget, Alter Ego, an Indonesian team, showed a very strong performance by winning the Super League twice. The SEA Super League was an upgrade to the previous championship, which by many is considered to be the most competitive league in PUBG Mobile. They could potentially become the next legend of the SEA region.
Untuk dibilang legend, gua rasa belum sih untuk Alter Ego. Walaupun mereka sempat ngedapetin back-to-back champion untuk di PMSL 2023, itu menurut gua hanya sekedar untuk ngasih pembuktian gitu bahwa Indonesia tidak kehabisan pemain berbakat. Ya mungkin contohnya Rosemary gitu. Datangnya dia ke Alter Ego tuh benar-benar jadi ujung tombak untuk Alter Ego, dan gak berhenti di Rosemary. Masih ada Alpha juga yang didatangkan oleh Alter Ego untuk mengisi kekosongan atau kekurangan dari Alter Ego. Dan gue rasa PMGC 2023 ini akan menjadi ajang Global Championship pertama gitu untuk Rosemary dan juga si Alpha. Jadi wajib banget kita nantikan performnya mereka di PMGC 2023. Dan please di notes, pastikan tonton Alter Ego sampai akhir.
Of course, there are many more teams we haven't mentioned, but these teams will all take part in the 2023 PUBG Mobile Global Championship. So what do you think? Who will be the ultimate winner in this year's PMGC? Will they be from SEA? Well, there's only one way to find out.
Greetings, PUBG Mobile players! The long-awaited Frost Festival is about to commence. In the new version 2.9, we'll be introducing battles filled with a frosty atmosphere. Snow Battle is coming to town. Furthermore, you'll also get to experience updates to World of Wonder and Classic Mode. So let's dive right into it. In the Frost Festival, we'll be bringing you a series of snow-themed content, including a new Snowy Village-themed area, fun interactions with snow pals, and snow-themed items for more gaming fun and excitement. When miraculous December comes, the frosty world will undergo some magical changes. Stay tuned for updates. Don't miss out. First, let's take a look at the new themed area, Snowy Village. The village covers a wide area of 280 by 150 and has loads of supplies. It's located near Stalber in Erringel, Iceborg in Livik, and Goroka in Vikendi. In addition to the buildings on the ground, the underground area of the Lucky Ice Tower is also worth exploring. Make use of the 2-story layout to experience a completely new battle experience. Sound the bell in the Lucky Ice Tower, and you can even summon rewards. Additionally, the village also has a snow rail, which can help you quickly move around and gather supplies. It allows you to navigate flexibly between different areas of the village and also swiftly relocate to advantageous positions during battles for your team to counterattack more effectively. Of course, you should always remain vigilant to avoid becoming the target of an ambush. What's more, the village also features a special 2-seat vehicle, the Reindeer. It's also a great choice for transportation as it allows you to swiftly move all over the map. For intense battles, we've also prepared festive and practical battle equipment for you, the Snowball Blaster and Snowboard. The Snowball Blaster can be used in many ways and has loads of functionality. When you aim it at the ground or a building, it can create a snow pile cover for you. When used on enemies, you can temporarily transform them into lively snow piles to restrict their movement. When facing bodies of water, you can use the Snowball Blaster to freeze the surface so that you can walk on it. It's definitely a practical yet entertaining weapon. After transforming into a lively snow pal, you will be unable to use firearms to do battle. You'll only be able to rely on basic actions such as walking, running, jumping, and swimming to evade enemy pursuit. It takes some time before you can revert to your human form. Let's build a snowman together. The snowboard will also bring you a whole new experience. Apart from helping you glide and move on various surfaces, it can also be used with the Snowball Blaster. Explore the many possibilities and use these 2 items to have all kinds of fun. We've also designed various interactive mechanics, such as searching for snow toddlers, lucky ice, and the snow blast zone. When you encounter a lucky snowman on the map, don't be in a rush to leave. There are 4 lost little snowmen hidden near the lucky snowman. Search for the 4 hidden snow toddlers and bring them back to the large snowman. You'll then receive a token of gratitude. There are lots of lucky ice scattered across the map. Shatter the ice to get the supplies inside. Try using a melee weapon to break the ice more easily. Furthermore, you'll find that snow has engulfed some red zones on the map, and the falling snow will bring about many interesting effects. Players within a snow blast zone will be transformed into a lively snow pal if they're hit by the snow. If the snow lands on the ground, a snow pile cover will be created. In this World of Wonder update, we'll be introducing a brand new transformation skill gameplay and a catch me hide and seek gameplay for you to enjoy the transformation skills to the fullest. Of course, you can also use this skill to create more interesting creations. We've also added a Snowy Village map template to celebrate the Frost Festival with creators. Additionally, we've also made some updates and improvements to gameplay devices, game parameter settings, and the editor. For more details, please follow the official PUBG mobile community. We'll continue introducing the latest WoW content to everyone. As for Classic Mode, we've also made some improvements to vehicles, firearms, creation mode, emotes, settings, and more. First, we've enhanced the designated marksman rifles. Some DMRs can be equipped with the full auto mod to fire in full auto. We've also improved the attributes and handling of some vehicles to enhance your driving experience. We've also added a new garage mechanic. From now on, you can choose your dream ride during matches. Meanwhile, we've also added a custom SFX adjustment feature. You can adjust the volume of some sound effects to whatever best suits you. As for creation mode, we'll be introducing some quick view features for watching the victory dance and fireworks displays and the new Frozen Kingdom themed performance in order to provide players with more possibilities for creative content. Furthermore, we've expanded the emote backpack. Now you can equip more emotes before entering the battleground. That's a wrap for the main content in this new version. In addition, new content will be added to the Popularity Battle event, Metro Royale, and Season Rewards. For more details, follow our official PUBG mobile community. Snow Battle is coming to town. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
In 2020, while the eyes of most PUBG Mobile viewers were focused on Southeast Asia as well as other regions, there was one region in particular that went under the radar, the 2020 EMEA League. Numerous teams from different regions were fighting for a spot in the 2020 PMGC. Among them, the teams from the EU region were the most dazzling. Canada Power, which had previously won 3rd place in the 2020 PMWL West League, managed to break through and eventually won 6th place in the 2020 PMGC. Class Dilge Athletics from Turkey also successfully took 8th place. For the entire EU region, this was a great start, and in the future, the EU region would grow into an even stronger region. The EU region seems to have endless potential. They always have a number of astonishingly talented newcomers. In the 2021 PMWI, in addition to the veteran team Kanina Power taking second place, the newly reorganized team in 2021, Next Ria,
Xenox in the smokes, the solo by themselves,
surprisingly won third place.
The EU region seems to just have endless potential. There's always a number of astonishingly talented newcomers coming up through the ranks, developing their skills, and in 2021 at the PMWI, you had some of the veterans there for sure. Kanina Power taking second place, an incredible performance coming through from them to get that second place. But not only that, you had the reorganized team for Next Ruya in 2021 who won PMPL Turkey. They came first in their region and then were invited on the back of that to the PMWI West to take third place. So these new talents working as this new roster at the time, a phenomenal resurgence there, and there's so much more left in the pipeline, I'm sure, for this region. I'm really excited for what the future has, and I can't wait to see what they've got.
In the 2021 PMGC, teams from around the world gathered once again. First of all, worth mentioning is that among all the participating countries in the grand finals, Turkey had the most with 3. Among them, teams like S2G and Next Ria finished 4th and 6th respectively. This was a massive achievement. The efforts of the EU region are constantly bearing fruit. Now they just needed an opportunity.
2021 yılında Dünya Şampiyonası istediğimiz gibi başlamıştı. Çünkü West aşamasında 3 takımımızı birden ilk 6'ya sokmayı başardık ve büyük finallere 3 takımımızı göndermiştik. S2G 4. olarak buraya katılma hakkı kazanmıştı ve kadrosunda Rip7, Timber, Kalse, Sylas gibi isimler vardı. Büyük finallerde ne yapacağını çok fazla kestiremiyorduk temsilcilerimizin, çünkü dünyadaki takımların iyi performansları söz konusuydu. Büyük finallerde temsilcimiz S2G 4. olmayı başardı. Nexuya 6. olmayı başardı. Maalesef Fenerbahçe ilk 8'in dışarısında kalmıştı. Ama bu takımın ileride çok iyi şeyler vaat ettiği konusunda herkes hemfikirdi.
Next, let's go directly to the 2022 PMGC. At a time when everyone was focusing on whether Nova could win 3 consecutive championships, a team that was not originally a favorite to win was about to become the focus on the stage. S2G performed consistently in the first 2 days of competition, always maintaining a position at the top of the leaderboard. And on the final day, S2G changed its conservative tactical strategy and sought to gain more elimination points in the last few rounds. And in the last round, S2G secured the championship with 15 elimination points.
champion of 2022, it is S2G!
They finally broke through and made history for the EU region.
2022 Dünya Şampiyonası bizi büyük zaferler getirdi. Tabii ki Dünya Şampiyonası başlamadan önce bu zaferlerin geleceği konusunda çok bir fikrimiz yoktu. S2G kadrosunda bazı değişiklikler yapmıştı. Takıma yeni katılan oyuncular vardı. Özellikle Reis ile birlikte takımın form seviyesi gerçekten çok yüksekti. 2022 Dünya Şampiyonası finallerine 2 takım göndermeyi başarmıştık. Bir tanesi S2G, bir tanesi Fireflux. Maalesef 2 takımımızın kaderleri birazcık farklı oldu. İlk günden itibaren S2G sürekli olarak zirveyi kovalarken Fireflux için işler iyi gitmemişti. 3. gün geldiğinde S2G güzel maçlar geçirdi ve şampiyonluğu Türkiye'ye getirmeyi başardı. Bu Türkiye e-spor tarihindeki en unutulmaz başarıydı.
This year, the EU region has continuously produced even more strong teams. First of all, G Gladiators won first place at the 2023 PUBG Mobile Pro League Spring Regional Championships and third place in the 2023 PMWI. Veteran teams like Next Ria and Kanina Power have been performing better and better this year and successfully qualified for the 2023 PMGC. Subsequently, hot recent teams like Mad Bulls, BRA Esports, Major Pride, Elise Esports, Demorte, among others from EU, have also successfully gotten a spot in PMGC. They all look forward to continuing the success of the EU region in 2023. There are many questions surrounding PMGC. Will S2G successfully defend their championship? Will another EU team lift the trophy? Could it even be a team unexpected to win it all? Let's witness it together in Turkey.
Gold Investigator. Join the Investigator team and let's protect the game's fairness together. 2023 Popularity Annual Gala event tutorial. Hey there, welcome to the 2023 Popularity Annual Gala. We've introduced a brand new competition and upgraded rewards. You will have to go through 10 rounds of 1v1 matches and compete to become the first ever PUBG Mobile Popularity Annual Gala champion. So let's get right to it. New competition, ladder competition. The Popularity Annual Gala event will be utilizing a new ladder promotion system. Players' initial ladder grade will be determined by their battle points at the end of the first round. Ladders are divided into 6 grades: Triple S, Double S, S, A, B, and C, with Triple S being the highest. Ladder promotion rules. Players are ranked based on the popularity they gain during the battle period. For rounds 1 to 9, the ladder results are settled at the end of every round's battle. Apart from ladder grade C, each ladder has 100 spots, with the top 20 promoted, the middle 60 retained, and the bottom 20 demoted. If you're trying to move up the ranks, be sure to stay within your ladder's retained threshold or higher before each round is settled. Additionally, ladder grades can only be promoted or demoted by 1 grade at a time, so your performance in the assignment round is crucial. Be sure not to miss it. Final showdown. Based on the rankings from the previous 9 rounds, round 10 will be the decisive showdown to determine the final rank and ladder grade placement, including the champion of the 2023 Popularity Annual Gala, who will emerge as the ultimate winner. New exclusive rewards. At the end of round 10, rewards will be issued based on the player's ladder grade and final rank. For outstanding players, they will receive exclusive rewards that can showcase their supreme honor both in and outside the game. In-game rewards include the honor title, honor name tag, and honor avatar frame, which are sure to make you stand out. Moreover, there are also physical trophies, interviews, custom-made popularity gifts, official social media promotion, game exposure, and other exclusive honorable rewards. Gain global renown both in and outside the game. What are you waiting for? Participate in the 2023 Popularity Annual Gala now.
Now we are live in Malaysia, Petaling Jaya Battle Arena. It's going to be the last day for the 2023 PMGC League, which is going to be the last chance last chance stage. With me, your host for today, Chichu, joining me on the stage and none other than IHC Alex. Thank you for joining us here. Now, for IHC, you guys are standing literally at 6th place and one step closer to the grand finals. Are you satisfied with your performance yesterday?
За IC Танабагийн хувьд бол одоогоор л 6 дугаар байранд байна. Танабагийн хувьд гранд финалдаа ороход нэг хэн алхмын наан зогсож байгаа учраас Танабагийн хувьд одоо ингээд өчтөрийн хийсэн тоглолтуудаа сэтгэл ханамж хэрвэн.
Бидний хувьд л өчтөрийн хийсэн тоглолтондоо сэтгэл ханамж бол 100% бол биш байгаа. Яг гэвэл бид яг сайн ч биш муу ч яг л дундаж оног аван тоглолт хийсэн байгаа. Тэгээ бяцхан алдаан тас болж энэ алдааг гаргасан байгаа.
About us, we are not 100% satisfied with our yesterday's performance because there was like a little bit mistakes from our side, and today we will be improving on our mistakes. So see us in the game.
Now, can you tell me what are the mistakes that you feel like you have to fix by today?
Танабагийн хувьд ингээд яг ямар хуудаа алдаануудыг засах ёстой гэж бодож байна.
Алдаанууд гэвэл яг зоон шахаж эхлэхээс өмнө жоохон хурдан хөдөлгөөн хийх. Тэгээ хөв тоглогч болгоны бяцхан алдаа одоо илүү үйлдэл тэгээ багийн буруу шийдвэр юм хүнээ засаж бид нар өнөөдөр илүү сайн тоглолт гаргана.
So on our mistakes is like before the zone starts shifting, we were moving on our individual moves, and some individual players were extended peeking on situations that they were not necessary to do. So we will be fully focusing on that situations.
Yeah, I don't blame them. The circle has been really crazy for the past few days. Yeah, now from your opinion, your own opinion here, which is the hardest team to fight in the close quarter combat or CQC? And who do you think will be your strongest opponents to just march into the grand final?
За, Танабагийн хувьд одоо ингээд тулсан тулааныг хийхэд хамгийн хэцүү байгаа баг ямар баг вэ? Мөн Танабагийн хувьд топ 5-даа орохдоо ингээд өрсөлдөхөд хамгийн хүндрэлтэй байна гэж бодож байгаа эсрэг өрсөлдөгчөө хэлээч.
Манай багийн хувьд гэвэл яг юм дэлхийн аварт орж байгаа багуудаас яг хамгийн хүчтэй гэсэн багууд байхгүй бүгд л сайн багууд. Гэхдээ бид нар аль багаас ч яахгүй байна. Яг л бид нар яг 4-4 тулаад аль багийг ч буулгаж авах чадaltaй. Өөрөөсөө алдаа гарахгүй бол бид ямар ч багийг давж гарч чадна.
About us, we don't think there's like any strong opponent in this PMGC, but every team is equal on their own situations. Like every team is strong right now, but for us, we are not scared of any other teams in 4 versus 4 plus quarter fights. We will be able to overcome any other teams if we don't do any individual mistakes.
No, there must be one team, right? One team. Don't play it safe. There must be one team that you feel like, oh man, you know, we have to fight them. Is there any particular? I'm trying to dig something here.
Одоо ингээд яг үнэхээр ингээд ямар ч баг байхгүй байх гэж боломжгүй шүү дээ. Тэгэхээр ингээд нэг бүр ингээд гүнзгийгээс сэтгэл дотроос ингээд ганцхан багийг нэрлэх байл. Яг ямар баг нэрлэх вэ? Тий, хамгийн сайн гэсэн.
Одоогоор яг сайн өрсөлдөгч гэвэл FaZe FaZe кланыг юу нэлээ. Тэдний rotation бас хурдан. Тэгээд бид нар ч одоо яг нэг газар бодсон шүү дээ. George Apart, George хэрэг ингээ хуваагаа боддог болсон. Тэгээд тэрэн дээр бид нар байлдах гад өнгийх дүүлж шүү дээ. Дүүлж байгаа байлдах гад өнгийх гэхэд аль хэзээ rotation дэгээ явцсан. Тэгээд илүү оноо авалтад маш сайн хурдан дүүлж болохоор FaZe-ийг нэрлэе.
Okay, so if I were to say like there's one team that specifically, I think I will choose FaZe because with FaZe we share same drop spot, and with that, like whenever we are looting and trying to engage with the FaZe, they're always ahead of us, and they always get the points ahead of us in the inside the zone. They get the placement, they get the positions far better than us. So that's what I particularly tell that FaZe is our strongest opponent.
I think you're not the only one because FaZe, with that comeback king moments, they can do anything, anytime. Now, for the last questions here, for the top 3 teams currently, they're aggressively playing without any chicken, but still can score a top 3. It feels like they don't really care that much about chickens anymore. Will you be playing more eliminations as well today?
За одоо ингээд шилдэг 3-т байгаа багуудын хувьд бол ерөөсөө ингээд чики идэ гэж бодохгүй зүгээр л ингээд оноо цоглуулад хурцтай тоглоё гэж бодож байна. Яг тэдний хувьд бол одоо ингээд чики идэх нь бол ямар нэгэн асуудал биш зүгээр л урагслаараа ингээд өөрснийхөө авахтай оноод аваад явж явахд болоод байна. Танай багийн хувьд одоо өнөөдөр ингээд яг адилхан нөхцөл байдлыг гаргаж ирнэ гэж бодож байна уу?
Тийм, манай үгийн хувьд бол бид нар kill point-ыг бол маш сайн цуглуулж байгаа. Гэтэ хараахан placement point дээр ерөөсөө оноо авч чадахгүй байгаа. Тэгээ бид нар алдаануудаа баг цагаар ярилцаад өндөр алдаануудаа зассан байгаа. Тэгээ placement point болон kill point-уудыг хосоод маш өндөр оног авах болно өнөөдөр.
So about our team, yesterday we were mostly getting the elimination points and we couldn't get the placement points that much. But yesterday after the games, we were having a little bit of beef inside the team and we have discussed about that, what we're gonna do today. And today we're gonna get both elimination points and placement points. So good. So watch us in the games.
It's all down to the circle and depends on the instincts of the player. Now that's going to conclude for our interview for today. And for today, it's going to be our last day in the last chance stage here. One mistake will be deadly for all the teams. Before we toss it back to the casters, he does have extra talents from Alex. Alex, I heard you want to say something before we end the interview.
Let's do this.
There you go. Toss it back to the casters. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, all right. You know, Alex, if PMGC doesn't work out for you, maybe you have a future in voice acting. What are your thoughts, Max, man?
Oh, I agree. That was really cool. Yeah, so cool.
There we go.
Really
That's all we've got.
Oh, that's as deep as I can go. Everyone, welcome back to the show here for the final day of the last chance qualifier to get into the PMGC Grand Finals kicking off in just a few weeks' time. I'm Jason. He's Max. And there on the end, looking handsome as ever, is Kalaris. So we're going to break down yesterday's games. And honestly, so you got to hear Alex Kalaris, you know, focus on the placements. That's what we've been saying. That's what they realized as well. Now, can they do it will be a different question.
Yeah, what a big brain comment. No, I digress. I mean, ultimately, they were getting great eliminations across the entirety of yesterday. So much so that, again, a 6th place team having the MVP for the day is extremely unusual. So for them to be able to go out and do that the way that they did, fantastic. But usually, the placement points do come with eliminations eventually if you're able to carry on that trajectory. So, I mean, there's high hopes for them if they continue what I think was pretty decent from them yesterday, all things considered.
You agree, Max?
I agree fully. I mean, they just need to try and reach more podium positions, right, at the end of the day. Maybe even they were too aggressive yesterday. Just got to tone it down a little bit, try and stay stacked as a full team. And if you reach the later stage, as you said, Kalaris, if you get placement points, typically the eliminations tend to naturally start to flow in your direction. So yeah, I think that's a big change for them. And they are just 3 points behind the top 5 position. So chances are we're going to have another Mongolian team alongside Stalwart to make it over in the grand finals, which would be pretty cool.
Pretty crazy considering how many points or how little points they are behind DXavier when DXavier had 3 top 4 finishes and a chicken dinner to boot on top of that. So pretty impressive IHC. We'll see if they can continue that pace today before we can jump into that Infinix GT10 Pro, the official smartphone here at PMGC 2023. You guys can pick it up. It's born for professional esports players, and you guys can dominate the lobby with one of those bad boys. I need to get one because, well, as Max has found out, I'm quite trash.
No.
So sorry. That was mean.
I was setting you up for that to be like, no, Jason. We played some back at the EU champs, and you did pretty well. You had like a 15-elim game, but you went straight for the heart.
I fully agree. That's the best point you've ever done on this, Jason.
Well, maybe.
Sometimes it has to be me, okay?
You know what? That's fine. Someone can upload a compilation of me being mean to you over on TikTok. Make sure to use the tag PMGC 2023 because you can find not only, hopefully, one of those clips, but some stuff from happening behind the scenes over in Malaysia where the teams are currently playing. So make sure you guys check that out. But in the meantime here, obviously, FaZe Clan was mentioned during the interview as well as being one of the teams to beat. And Max, you've been a huge proponent in talking about how that last game we had of them on that Miramar, where they're able to change up their style, has completely avalanched into a domination so far in the leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, ever since that last game of the survival stage, Jason, they've had such a massive change in how they just approach these matches. Placement points, we're not going to cut it anymore. They need to start fragging out. They need to start reaching those late game scenarios. And look, if you look at their final 4 matches here, 3rd place with 9 eliminations, 3rd place with 6 eliminations, 3rd place with 8 eliminations, and then the 2nd place with 12 eliminations. That is a complete overhaul of how they were playing the game before this very point of the tournament. And currently with 60 points, Jason, if they maintain even just slightly this kind of consistency heading into today, they're going to go into the grand finals in Turkey so damn easily. So FaZe are looking amazing so far, and I really hope we're going to see a continuation of that new mentality for the team.
And the cool thing is they're not really being fed these situations either. It's not like the circle's just bearing down upon them game after game. They're playing really decent edge sweeping style, which I've always said when it comes to PUBG Mobile esports in general, like when you see this in Battle Royale, this shows extreme quality in skill. The fact that you can sweep the edge, still be able to play with back against the blue, win those fights out, and then move towards the podium, that's some pretty high skill level there from FaZe.
I'm not gonna lie, after the first day of survival stage and even most of the second day of the survival stage, I didn't think we'd be talking this highly of FaZe Clan. I didn't think they would even have gotten into this point. But hey, credit to them to make this turnaround happen. And obviously with the results they had yesterday, they put themselves 14 points safe in the bubble. So for them, it's not even about winning matches. It's about surviving. Yes, you get some extra prize money going your way if you do place first, but you know what? Getting into grand finals is what it's really about. But a couple of other teams that maybe are surprising, at least for me, Team Queso. I am honestly surprised to see them in 3rd place with the results we saw in group stage, obviously with the survival stage as well. But look at this, 16 placement points, 36 eliminations, the 2nd highest fragging out team in the lobby right now with some of the best teams in the world. I think that is a true testament to how strong this team can be.
And especially if you look back on their matches of yesterday, they got 2nd place with 13 eliminations on Sanhok. If they can try and hold their position in top 5, Jason, today, it is going to be down to that Sanhok possibly. It is a map where they typically are really good. It's just unfortunate this just once a day, but they're still going to try and make the most out of that kind of battleground. So yeah, Team Queso has been a big surprise. I'd even go to say that Rook has been a really big surprise for me despite not being in top 5 right now. A team from Africa starting off hot with that chicken dinner. Just need to see more eliminations from Rook compared to some of these teams we're looking at on the top 4 fraggers list. And if they can do that, maybe Rook could also push himself up in the grand final.
Honestly, I'd be concerned if I was anybody from actually BTR Red Villains down. So 4th down. Why do I say that? Well, if FaZe, Procedure, or Queso had been able to convert any of those podium finishes that they had into a 1st place, the gap in points would be significant. And if they continue to play the way that they played yesterday, those 3 teams, and they get at least 1 win on the board today, the gap will be significant. The catch-up will be difficult for the rest of these teams.
And yeah, and to be honest, if we're looking at the overalls and thinking about them, I'm thinking maybe even 10th place right now for Inco, which is at 30 points, might be around the cutoff point. Definitely one below them with Reject at 28 as we fall to 17th after with Gladiators. But it's getting really tough. You cannot afford to have a bad match. And honestly, Kalaris, coming into this after seeing Mad Bulls before, if I were to tell you, hey, at the end of day one of Last Chance, they're going to be 13th place with only 16 points, I don't think you would have believed me.
I mean, yeah, I think you said it pretty well in the past couple of days. Like, feast or famine, right, for this team. And I think, unfortunately, at this point, our region might be done for when it comes to the Last Chance. Like, Gladiators and Mad Bulls down there, not really seeing huge glimmers of hope for them just yet. And when it comes to today, when pressure is going to be on, I think that some of those teams at the top, as I say, with all of those podium finishes that they've got, I think they're going to be able to secure their position, shore those defenses up against these teams, which, if you're our Mad Bulls or Gladiators, you need 2 great games to start off just to catch up.
Yeah. When you're looking at a lot of these teams, you could even add to the mix, say, on top of Mad Bulls and Gladiators, your Duxan, your Nigma Galaxies, your Reject. The thing is, they had a lot of leeway when you started the start of this league stage, right? There was a lot of rotations that were very easy to pull off because teams were maybe a little bit slower, trying to adapt. There's so little mistakes happening in these matches now, Kalaris. Teams are so quick to rotate on circle pops at any kind of situation, taking the best position so quickly. If you're just 10, 15 seconds slower than the majority of the teams, chances are you're not going to reach a top 5, you're not going to reach a podium, and you're definitely not going to get those wins that you definitely need at this point. So, man, teams like Mad Bulls, they're going to struggle because there's just not that much space anymore. They just need to try and be even more proactive, which is easier said than done, but it's what you have to do.
I mean, and knowing one mistake could decide between you getting to grand finals or not is just even more pressure. Fantastic shot coming with the witty there, but still, like, look at Influence Rage, the domination they were pulling off in obviously Americas, in the league stage, and in survival stage. They're not safe. They're at 8th place at 41 points. They can easily climb into that top 5. But honestly, it's so scary seeing how many teams are in very close reach of top 5 that I could not tell you who's going to be there at the end of the day.
I really believe, Jason, today the leaderboards are going to be completely scrambled. We saw that at the end of the survival stage, right? Where the teams at the bottom, you even saw like Inco as an example, do a massive comeback alongside Team Kesso. I think the teams that are currently not in top 5 have very little to lose right now. You're just going to full send it. If you're Mad Bulls, Gladiators, Reject, Inco, you're just going to go giga aggressive, okay? Get all those eliminations and try and reach the late game, because exactly, you only have 6 more matches remaining. At the start of the day, you might try and get some placement points to try and stay relevant in the conversation. On the second half of the day, you need to start blasting from the get-go, because otherwise, a spot in top 5, you won't be able to do a comeback in a game or 2. You need to do a really good game followed up by extremely consistent results. So the bottom teams, they are going to put everything they have on the table out here on these matches.
I mean, I'm going to anticipate Jason's next question, which is like, okay, what do those bottom teams have to do in order to be able to... No, okay, no. But the point is that we were talking about this yesterday, right? How do you approach a situation where you are so far behind? Do you radically change your strategy and things like that? I don't think you do. I just think you turn your normal playstyle up to 11. Take some of those shots that you wouldn't necessarily normally do, just in case you get a long-range headshot, and then you can follow up on something, right? Because usually you think to yourself, you want to conserve ammo in order to be able to kind of go into the late game. But if you can hit some wild headshots that you might not necessarily take otherwise, and then follow that up on a fight, that could be a few more points here and there, and that could be the difference maker if you are one of these lower teams in the ranks.
You would know what my question was going to be, Kalaris? Inco Mad Bulls Ruins. Is it going to happen again today? 2 teams fighting to get to top 5. Well, which team's going to fall away? Are both teams going to go away from Ruins? Are Nigma Galaxy going to be left wondering, like, hey, where's the fighting? Where's our free eliminations? These are 2 teams who can't afford to have a hot drop go wrong.
I think...
Inco... Sorry, I want to jump on this one, because Inco don't have to drop on Mad Bulls and Ruins, and also because they have that hot drop versus IHC in Novo. So, like, they have to change 2 pretty much drops, even if it's a secondary drop in Novo. We need to see a complete overhaul from Inco, because 4 matches out of the 6, if you go for that hot drop situation, you're not going to make in top 5. So, yeah, they have to change something here. There's so many spots available, so Inco, go to the East Coast. It's available. It would be a good option.
Agreed.
Are we going to get a world where both teams just ditch the drop location, considering, well, Mad Bulls are a lot farther behind than Inco. And then they hot drop each other somewhere else on the map, and they're like, guys, what the hell? You're supposed to stay there. We're supposed to move. Honestly, I wouldn't want to be one of these teams, and even if we talk about the leaderboards, Max, and as you mentioned, how quickly they've shifted. I mean, U2 Alliance, after match 3, they were first place by, you know, a decent enough margin. They've fallen to 9th place now, and this is obviously another team, another powerful team looking to break back through in the ranks. And they looked, I'd say, pretty decent decent overall. We talked about their splits maybe being a little bit too spread on certain matches, but they've looked pretty strong, especially with Olio on the team.
Now, I especially like their potato heel finish against Influence Rage, where they went for the push onto Law. I think that was an amazing play. Didn't quite work out, but it was the right approach in that kind of scenario. But I would compare really Yudu Alliance to a Mad Balls from the survival stage in the sense they got 2 second places with 8 eliminations, 12 eliminations. Outside of that, what was there? Not much. We need to see more consistency on their bad games, similar to an IHC, for example, just getting at least 5, 6, 7 eliminations per match. If you can do that, they will very quickly get close to that top 5. So I believe in Alliance here, but it's so close here, Jason. It's really hard to predict.
You know what? We don't need to talk anymore. We want to get into the games. People are always asking, Caster, when match? Well, it's right now, and it's going to be brought to you by Jackie and Blake as you drop into Sanhok.
You know, not a lot of people know that, Jason, but behind the scenes, it is actually Blank that controls the start game button. So when everyone's saying that, it's all just directed at you, Blank.
I know, I actually do have just a big red button off to my right-hand side. I can't let you guys see it because it is confidential at the end of the day. I am on the big red button, so I'm giving you just what I can at this point in time. But I'll be pressing that bad boy very, very shortly as we get into the game. BTR, get ready to go. Superboy, stop dancing, get your headset on. And get ready to go because it's our final day of Last Chance, Jackie, and we're already in it. Dear me, the game has started fast. I wasn't ready.
You hit the button accidentally, Blake.
I think I did.
正确试过啊。
When I was showing it
off. OMG 只是针对1万这么处理的，然后 IP 功能10002就是它专有的测试游戏，然后它的那个皮肤啊，它的手艺啊，都跟那个305是共用的。 所以你直接就输 KID 10002就可以。
Now we have our last time we're going to see this battleground in a lobby that has been delicious.
Oh, feels like sadness to me because it's all finishing, but also I'm excited to see which teams do end up in that top 5. We saw just then that Team Queso currently have the highest on Sanhok. It was about 18 point average, 19 point average, which is sort of ridiculous overall considering Team Queso on 52 points. So around about, let's say 60% of their points are coming from Sanhok so far. So they're certainly extremely good at this one. They're starting things off with a hot drop over towards the Gladiators, who I think at this point in time probably consider out of the top 5, so Team Queso will need to pump their points further.
IP 相关的都是用10000去看。
That's the ideal scenario, really. If Gladiators are going to give them the opportunity, dangling points in front of them here, as Meku has dropped further away from the rest of the pack, so has no trade potential, no room for backup. And it's an easy freebie. They secure that one, grab it in the bag. All Tixie can do is watch down and quake in his boots, knowing that they've already given up some free elimination points today. Inco get the free drop as well on Ruin, so no contest there. Mad Balls moving off, and that will be a bit of a pass, a little backdoor deal on that one, Blank, for the drop spots.
Yeah, head on to that outside edge. And I think I respect that from Mad Balls, right? You don't want to go for this same hot drop every single time because honestly, at this point, you could... Nah, that's bad news. You could consistently say that Inco are sort of causing themselves problems with this hot drop, right? If Mad Balls decided they wanted to go for this one once again and just take their chances on getting those 4 eliminations and getting out of there, you know, that could go either way, right? And Inco would be in an even worse of a deal. Right now, 30 points. They still have a chance to get towards that top 5. Mad Balls, it's not a similar story at 16 points overall. Like the guy's saying on the desk, I think it is sort of over for our region in EU. Sad days. I think it's pretty much donezo for Gladiators as well with the way this Sanhok is starting out. That's going to be very bad for the mental game. But for Inco, they claim themselves control of Ruins after some very brute forcing over towards that position of the map. Might give them a better chance here considering they are actually able to get going fairly quickly without the risk of Nick McGalaxy taking a peek in, who don't even bother with it. They realize they need to have the most unbelievable day if they want to make it into the top 5, which quite frankly, I would say nigh on impossible. Probably a 98% chance that they're not getting in here.
Yeah, it really would have to be something absolutely unfathomable from this game all the way to the end of the day. back-to-back, really. We'd need to see non-stop shenanigans from them. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be happening. Thought potentially as well, having a look at the map feed, there was a chance we were going to see a bit of a late play from the Mad Bulls, just sort of guarding for the rotate out through ruins. But instead, they've taken their time to loot up and just have a little bit of a scouting party. So advanced positions, they'll get a bit of a read on how things are going early, but haven't thrown themselves into a fight versus Inco. They've given them safe passage across the bridge and back up into the zone, where Tixi has now spotted them and got a bit of a read. Meanwhile, Duxan are making a move, though, and could run into the Mad Bulls. So a few potential bits of contact already occurring here as squads are sizing each other up.
And I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of teams have already made their move, right? Influence Rage, passed off from boot camp. They immediately sent across the river towards those eastern compounds in Sandhawk. Reject, similarly, made a rotate through Trifecta. They're on the southern side, so we're cramming a lot of teams into a small space right now. And with Gladiators going down to 2, that does give a lot more room for these other teams to play, because you've got your main team that drops over towards that northwest island, already cut down to 2 players, which gives a lot of the other teams on the outer edges easier access to those spots, specifically over towards that little eastern hilltop. That is a really strong position that we know a lot of teams love to go for. DX getting themselves into an engagement. This is off to the western side of Paris Resort right now, as they both attempted to make their way across the North Bridge. Lamborghini, though, takes a heavy hit there from Prepod, and he will hit the second too. So DX going down to 2 players, most likely. It's pretty bad for their run. Remember, they're in 5th place right now, 46 points. 2 players right off the rip here in Sandhawk. And they were playing well, man. I actually really like the way DX has been playing out a lot of these games, but I don't think this team comes online until Erangel, to be quite honest with you. That's where they find the majority of their points. So the midday heightened senses for DX are certainly what we're looking for going forward. So I can sort of understand why they wouldn't mind writing off a Sandhawk like this, but, you know, not getting a huge amount of points here early on is a bit of a struggle going forward, Jackie.
No, you are right, man. You know, they've kind of got their 2 different forms, right? Sandhawk, sleep. Erangel, excited. That's what we see coming out from DX. That's really where they have been able to... yeah, that's what it's like, man. It feels like, you know, they get the running shoes on. They're holding B blank and they're just running non-stop. It makes a world of difference for them as well. But that is an unlucky start, taking so much damage and being left with only, you know, half of the squad very early into this one as well, because that's the other thing. Well, although we've already seen a little bit of, you know, early combat, we're seeing the way some of these teams are looking coming into it in terms of the body language already. This game hasn't been live for very long. So that's rough for DX. Like you're saying, you're in 5th place and you're only a stone's throw away from falling out of that as well, as IHC are right on your tails. The Mongolian side, 43 points to DX's 46. So a thimbleful there, and we could see a change. Meanwhile, we see a rotate here through the blue. BTR driving on by. They've got the tunes blaring, some Katy Perry on the radio. So they've been detected, blank, but there's not really much room for the chase just yet. So free info as they go roaming through the map, looking to get themselves situated on their rotate.
Yeah, man, this is threatening Katy Perry, right? You know, you blare it off in the distance. People are like, whoever's playing that, probably we shouldn't mess with them. They're very confident coming into this game if they're going to be blasting that one out the speakers. That's towards that south side in Sami. You can't quite see them on your screens just yet, but they were rotating on past through Nigma Galaxy. Duxan yet to make a move outside of Ruins, but it's already been picked clean kind of by both Inco and Mad Bull. So Duxan just waiting for their opportunity. There you go. Start to see the BTR boys peek their heads in towards the circle as we head on to our stage 2, which sent us up towards that northern side of the island. So FaZe Clan, after their miraculous results over towards the last 2 games in Miramar, where we know they shine, they get themselves a little bit of luck here up towards that northern edge. So Hatting controlled by them, but a really nice split, I would say, so far. Bit dangerous for Ventores, though. We know that hilltop. I talked about it before. It's very much a focal point for a lot of teams, gives you so much control, but you will have teams fighting for that one. I don't know if one player is going to cut it, but as a position to hold this early on, and maybe as an anchor point for the rest of the team to regroup on, it's great news.
Depends on how the cookie crumbles then. when push comes to shove. If they can hold the angle, use it to the best of their ability. So far, looks good. Elim feed bodes well for them as they pick up an opening knock onto Brute Force. Brute Force that are currently under an attack from Influence Rage. They've swooped down onto them and done a nice chunk of damage, leaving a couple of the players on their last leg. Similar story, though, for Law, as he's taken a bite back. Going for the quick medic mission as well. They want to reset the fight on this one. You've got other players, meanwhile, duking it out as BTR are taking a ton of damage from the Galaxy boys. So the Cosmos clash continues there. Nice nade round the corner. That's a big pickup that will shut down another man. Brute Force still holding on though, Blank. All things considered, they're trying to scrape by on this, but the nades are the difference maker as FaZe are starting to backstab now.
Yeah, this is an interesting push coming from FaZe, and I think you realize that any team that's in this position is sort of in that contention for that hilltop. They've left Vintoras up top side. He's returned to the team now. They'll get this third party done and then maybe regroup on that position. This is an extremely aggressive push from FaZe. It's one that can be very risky. They're already losing players here from Udo Alliance as Mela tries to hold down the fort. Mormon's down and out, and they could have maybe just held onto that hilltop, but they got hungry. They got a little bit greedy, whilst Influence Rage handedly takes down the rest of Brute Force here. YDO and Prepod behind the rock. I don't know how many more nades Influence Rage still has on board, but this is an excellent defense from them at an excellent time as well, because Influence Rage 8th place, but very close to moving into that 5th place barrier.
And we know they can do it with the sheer skill they've shown us when it comes to Elims. A team that feels like even when the odds are stacked against them, they play very confidently, very bold into a lot of the engagements they take. In the meantime, though, FaZe starting to take damage in the battle of attrition as the backline is full of other squads. From a distance, you've got Udo Alliance that are just taking pot shots wherever they can see a little bit of skin from FaZe. There was also Rook with Eugene miles away on the other island even, hitting some long-distance shots to punish them and leave their HP far lower than they would like in a position like this. So this fight, now not very sustainable. You know, this has been going on for a very long time. The idea of this being a quick cleanup for Influence Rage and cure a few points from it, that went out the window a while ago. Now you're looking at not making too many mistakes with how many eyes are on you. Fight's not stopping though, Blank, as everyone is scrapping to have some sort of area to play in at this point.
Mate, this is currently a 2v4 going on between Gladiators and Team Queso. Not sure how they've pulled off what they did. Circle's nasty, heads up towards that northeast side. AHC very pleased with this considering they're not quite in yet. More Molotovs sent over the top, not too many nades, but the rest of Gladiators do regroup. Raze is providing that information back. Arta and Big Milo to hold it down in that front line. Another nade goes through, won't find too much damage. A little bit of a tag over towards Tixie, but that's about it. And I think he realizes, get rid of Raze. He's providing too much that information back towards them. When they strike, they'll know about it. But Team Queso, this is a pretty sad result for them. Remember, this is the team we were talking about, saying that they had one of the biggest percentages in terms of those average points on Sandhawk. To go down versus two players that you already took down half the team from would feel very, very rough. There's still comeback potential there, but with this circle moving up towards the northeast side, both these teams not in the greatest of spots.
No, for Prepod, it's basically like having a very low-quality barbecue outside, camping by the burned-out car. Just toasting his marshmallows, mate. Yeah, that's all he's got, you know. The family said we'll go on a camping trip. Prepod's thinking, oh, this will be fun. In reality, this is the camping trip. It's not ideal, Blank. At least he's warm. It could always be worse. If it was Vikendi, he'd be absolutely freezing.
But there's wolves at the door, or at least at the horrid tent that's been allowed to be brought with them that takes 3 hours to put up, and everyone gets mad at one another as Brute Force attempts to keep control, keep that cool. IHC looking over towards Rook right now. Zol's in, but the entire room is smoked up. Rami goes down. That will be one player from Rook out here. IHC claiming control over towards the southeast side. They're still on, technically, the eastern island. You got Reject that claim control over the hilltop towards that western edge as FaZe sort of threw this game away. I don't think they had to third party down to Brute Force. If they were able to take down both those teams, fantastic, excellent news. But you gotta know that there is a lot of teams trying to push in from that northeast edge. So the amount of sightlines that are available over towards FaZe where they had barely any cover to work with. It was somewhat of a weird play. Nades coming in. Alex moves into the building, will be immediately knocked here. Gets into the smoke, survives for a bit longer, but it's Nenabet Che taking down Tixie on that top side, and Godless with some DBSs coming through the window to try and keep this one alive. Somehow Alex manages to escape, Jackie.
It's pretty heads up as well. They jumped straight on to the revive and reset the fight, knowing they had the smokes down. And Alex was lucky that the smoke was still there to block him as well. So the line of sight not going in favor of Rook. Instead now, just trying to play on the back foot, the defense, as they knew they were being pushed. And IHC come out like the katana, swinging their way through and slicing them in half. They've got a bit of an interview buff today as well on stage, talking a big game. Alex saying that they're not scared of any of the other teams in the lobby. The only mention that he gave was to FaZe. And like you were saying, FaZe, they've basically come into this one and put a big X on their back, Blank. And, you know, other teams have just jumped to the occasion instantly. They've been farmed up with not having enough cover to play off of, thought they found an opportunity to steal away some very easy elims. Instead, the only easy eliminations were on FaZe. And you're just playing with a solo now. You know, effectively, you're thinking maybe you can play some snaky PUBG Mobile, deliver around and pop up towards the end of the game, maybe get a couple of placement points. But having a big earner on the last Sandhawk of the whole event isn't going to be happening for them here.
Absolutely not. It's a Besiege Evos up towards the northwest side. They just got themselves out of the blue, but running directly in towards the Mad Bulls, who all have nades in their hands, looking to explode the opposition as they make their way in. Nice setup from Besiege Evos with these backstops, making it very difficult for the Mad Bulls to do anything whatsoever. Exploring the vehicle is good, but the nading towards the backside will leave Mad Bulls feeling black and blue here. Misery gets burned up. A crucial Molotov comes through. Now Redface has to come in to try and save FaZe in this situation procedure.
Zuxi, with the Molotov out, everyone's going to be burning behind the rock. The moss is going up. The ecosystem is not doing well for the wildlife, but right now it's Zuxi that burns in his own fire, gets striked back upon as Zerich head for the encounter. And that's one you can't afford to lose in that manner. It cannot go down that way, Blank. That feels like such a misplay.
That should have been an easy victory for them as well. Mad Bulls were totally struggling on this western edge. But Luxy running into his own molly. The moss a bit more flammable than he expected there. Takes himself down. Flique will drop to the zone. I'm not sure how much life Zerich has got left in him to get further into this match, but they'll be certainly happy with the 4 eliminations, or at least 3 eliminations they're able to garner on that side. Gladiators eliminated 4 eliminations, 14th place, no placement points for them, but at least a little bit of something, but just so unlikely. Reject, though, very pleased with their positioning. I think they quickly identified this spot was open down towards that south side, playing off the back of it. Enigma Galaxy, look at this, Jackie. It's the day 2 buff. It comes in clutch for them every single time. Actually find themselves somewhat of a decent rotate up towards this western side after they were able to take a really good fight versus BTR early on and gather themselves a bit of storm going into this match. But the circle, again, moving away from all these favorable spots towards Udo Alliance and IHC. Very playable position now for both these teams, but they've got to get across first. With the side swipe available for both these squads, it's just a matter of time because you desperately want to get up towards that coastal edge so you can start taking shots over towards teams like Influence Rage, Brute Force, Duxan as they attempt to make their way over towards that coastal side. It's just rough here. Duxan attempting to leave from Hartin, get towards that southeast edge and crush all the teams that are attempting to push their way through Hartin on the western side.
I love how Ventores has been basically like the mosquito that's just whizzing by Enigma Galaxy.
主要是年前排期有一些小变化，然后刚刚 RIP 的特色正好有些疑问。第一个是先说一下这个吧，我们后面公益啊，其实针对公益，就是后面这个游戏会变成2个，一个是1万，一个是1万。
I mean, yeah, they've popped the smokes, they've got themselves tucked into the building, and at least probably can reset on the players that have been down. Oh, hello, Squash, he's lived up to his name. He's still alive, what? He's still alive!
这个游戏去验证那个
what
RIP， 因为呢，那个 ONED 只是针对前端的逻辑。
懂吗？就是前端的部分他会去换皮，但是呢，他请求 Gay ID 的时候变成是1万，但是呢 ，Gay 1万在后台它不是一个 IP 游戏，懂吗？核心的问题是后台要让它是一个 IP 的游戏。然后刚刚反馈的这个问题，这个是前端问题，等一下他会去改，这个到时候造成的。然后我们可以优先测那个
Wow, well done. I guess to live the first initial car. I don't even think Reject intended for that to happen either. It was just a bit of a scout, understanding that there's probably teams still on the top side of the hilltop. Just lucky that they get the roll down off the back of it. Circle over towards Nigma Galaxy. Fortunate to get that little shack.
然后这个是针对
LIP 的。And Reject opt to go for themselves. A little bit of a 2-2 split. Got 2 players.
这一款我建议我们测试环境已经测了一轮了，所以在下网测10002的时候，只测基本功能，就不要看什么很复杂的那个什么很复杂的一些配置的，但是每个基本功能还是要看的，比如说推荐底下的这些推荐。又有个数码梦更新了。
His entire team melt one by one, and just sitting in the camp office, just thinking, what on earth do I do now?
然后
Dear me.
然后就10002，我的建议这次重心不在10002上面，在6.17的上面，因为10002呢，下一个版本它还没正式开始启用嘛，等要开始启用的时候，我们可以重点在冒烟上，而且测试环境已经跑了，所以我们这次的重点冒烟核心还是在10000上面，这个核心冒烟还是在10000上面，然后呢，10000上面本质有6.17的那些新功能。一会跑完，然后跑完就开始一些功能冒烟常规功能冒烟吧。我的建议是今天把这块一发布的功能一发布给收尾了。
Can see here, you do alliance with the first ones to cross on the bridge. Got up towards that bottom side, but Duxan still a rough journey ahead of them. You're completely exposed to these teams underneath the bridge here. IHC still behind them, but living up to what they wanted in the interview, which is get more placement points.
这可以了，这应该是可以了。然后3035的这个前线啊，这个也好。这个可以用前端去模拟，但你模拟只能是看前端的。这是6.1跟6.17的，我的建议是尽量你们这两个今天搞完，就是冒烟这一块，因为我觉得这块RIP 通文不用看得太纤细，把基本功能看就可以了。然后核心还是6.17的迭代为主。然后呢，之前还分了你们
This is a fight that could get a little bit messy though. You do alliance on the bridge being ushered into the zone with the blue. Godless and Coach from IHC on top. He jumps down. He goes for the acrobatic assault blank, but it doesn't work. 0 pointer on that.
Yeah, I mean, he could have gone for something a little bit more here, but it's brute force from Prepod. Forgets about the player from Influence Rage. Still inside the building. As Federal strikes in a moment. It's YDO to hold things down. The 5 eliminations. Nice little play from Influence Rage there to come out swinging. Kept very, very silent for a long, long time. Reject still on that top side. The Weller tries to drop off to get to a better spot here. Sara goes down, and that will be Reject going out in fourth place. But from that high ground position, we're able to steal away a lot of those eliminations here. YDO moves forward. Not a lot of chance to get Prepod back up again. Enigma Galaxy afforded a very nice little win here with the compound. I say compound, the shack they're able to hold on to. They will go down. That's Enigma Galaxy win on the card.
晚了1000了，应该是今天25。然后呢，这一块的话。
Wow, could have been a lot worse as well. You know, when they
今天如果冒烟完，有可能就明天早上。 明天早上可能是公益的。但是啊，如果明天早上不搞的话，那应该就是下周一了。有129。如果没什么问题的话，应该是明天早上。然后再涉及到一个 Nicky 的这个版本，是吧 ？Nicky 的这个版本是原先是今天转的，但是他们变成明天转的。
Maybe it's here, maybe maybe they rolled the dice and maybe they came up with the sixes. We'll have to wait and see. It's kind of an interesting game, that one, because a lot of our teams towards the bottom side actually ended up doing well in that match. Reject, you saw Ducksand get far into that match as well. Brute Force with themselves in second place, and Nick Galaxy with the chicken dinner. These are our bottom three teams, 14, 15, 16 respectively. They get themselves a high placement in this game. Yudo Alliance certainly benefits from this match as well with their 41 points at the start of the day. That should, I would imagine, with a lot of our teams in the first to fifth place going early on, send them towards themselves a fifth place spot alongside of IHC, who did fantastically well in that last game. Remember, guys, I want to reiterate this. After yesterday, 9 placement points, 34 eliminations.
7.4的这个迭代应该是
big gameplay.
下周一会转车。
We've seen a lot of crazy things, so let's go for something a little bit more normal. It's the classic vintage dulcet tones of Jason Kaplan and the Death. Let's get back over there.
啊，这个应该不是30号发布，30 31日发布，然后新增2个PUBG的份额。
I'm not gonna hype it up too much since they were on the table at like 5 points. But this is the start they need to potentially have a chance to get through top 5. And Claris, we saw the exact same thing happen for them in our survival stage.
Yeah, let's be real. There is always the potential across 6 games that teams like this, teams who have shown excellence in the past, can make magic happen on a final day. Nick Galaxy, they threaded the needle to be able to get to some of these spots because they were coming in late to try and get to these compounds. I was surprised that the compound south was open, but they were able to blitz through to it. Never mind the shack that was east of that. There's potential magic, not only I would say for Enigma Galaxy, but also maybe from Apples as well if they were able to try and because those are the two teams down towards the bottom that I think could make magic happen here in the final day.
A lot of the teams that we already mentioned on the pre-show, and even yesterday, Brute Force also to win 5th position before this. You didn't really far in this game. They were before this match in 9th position, and even they were in 11th position. So currently, this match has those bottom teams that need to try and race for the top 5 positions. I'm loving how the
Sport 的话，其实也没改啥，就是在特殊下面呢，会加一个统计，会在特殊这个页面里面呢，会加一个每个页面的统计，然后那个每个页面的统计呢，会加上一些会加上一些印度的一些东西。Watch all 以前没有 Watch all， 会把 Watch all， 到时候会给你一个模板，你看吧，反正也不多。然后他以这个适配是整成1月30，他以适配可能前期光华会起车，后面就不是。然后这个应该是这个是30，也是29，估计是29发布。现在争取29一起发布。立体的这个是那个落场负责，到时候你协助猫烟吧。7.4的这个是应该是29或者30，估计是29转色，然后31是一发布。31快的话，31就上线了。然后HOK 是30转色。HOK 这个是2月是哇。然后应该是2月4号一发布吧。一发布后到时候就略感电网验证开始可以。年前主要就这些吧。
0 chicken dinners, right? Like it really shows the emphasis on being great when it comes to gunplay, great when it comes to those team fights, and being able to then eventually convert some placement points from those.
猫烟玩的话，就明天早上就上一发布，就上这次。没玩的话，就下周一上公益。真挺吧？
我问一下阿宇的，到时候是只看 HOK 相关吗？还是
只看 HOK 相关 ？Dinner at the very end here, because these teams that have risen to the top, they've shown why they've risen to the top.
管理端是通用的，因为现在 HOK 吧，其他的游戏适配可能有问题，到时候再说。
points between second and fifth. I'm not sure where you say that too often.
然后今天这个版本验证还有一个请你找我啊。
好。
There was a highlight as well on that, which showed all the like it showed like 1st to 9th, the little bracket, the out border thing that was glowing. But honestly, there is such a chance for teams even below that, if they have an insane day, to be able to jump up. So I think it's a little bit misleading about who could be in the challenge here, because I think, Max, you said, you know, Enigma Galaxy, they were tweeting out that, you know, they think they're coming in hard here for this one. I thought, considering the lateness of them coming into this circle, they weren't exactly coming in hard for this one, but, you know, I mean, they make it work. They make the win happen.
Yeah, I said it like yesterday and even on a pre-show, but I don't know what to expect in terms of who's going to be the top 5 at the end. I think, do we have some maybe like FaZe, Procedure Evo's, Team Kesso looking good, but it could be in complete shambles by the end of these next 5 matches here. So it's tough to predict. I'm looking though, looking in the next 3 wrangles coming up. Udo Alliance, they were really good when it came to that map, securing 2 second places and also a decent bunch of eliminations. They follow up this good game with that. I think that they could, on this next map alone, maybe solidify their position in top 5 and then their spot in the grand final. So, man, Udo Alliance, if they keep these results up, chances are they already got their ticket going their way.
Well, we do have to kind of bring our memory back, but unfortunately not too far, as it was yesterday. We got to see Inko, unfortunately, with another hot drop with IHC. We're going to find out if that's going to happen yet again today. They avoided Mad Bulls this time, but can they avoid IHC? We're going to find out with our commentators, so Jackie and Blake.
Okay, the 3 Erangels back-to-back then. This is where things normally get a little bit more tantalizing, Blank, the known quantities that start coming out.
Yeah.
We'll see, mate, because I feel like, you know, we've already sort of let the lightning out of the bottle with the way the lobby started off. I don't think it's going back in.
No, dude, it's a tricky thing, that lightning bolt. It's zipping all around the room here as we head into our 2nd game here. Obviously, we talked about IHC as well as Inko over on the desk there. That's potentially a thing that comes through. IHC realized that, you know, that fight between them and Inko seems to be pretty easy a lot of times. They taken down 2 of their players almost off the bat. I think the only difficult one was their first initial hot drop over towards that team. After that, it seemed easy breezing for them. But heading into the game in just 20 seconds. A lot of these teams strategizing, thinking about what they want to do in this match. For BTR, that last game didn't go too well. Neither for Procedure Evo's currently on screens. So we'll see what happens. Udo Alliance, though, consistent throughout the entirety of this last chance. Be just what pushes them over towards that top 5. Is managing to get towards the end of these games a lot of times. And I mean, for Udo Alliance, they seem like a pretty strong team when it comes to just getting those points on board match after match here, Jackie.
Well, they didn't give up as well. I think that's, you know, one of the bigger points for them is the way that Udo Alliance, it just seems like even when, you know, they're struggling a little bit, maybe, you know, they're going into fights where they should be at a bit of a disadvantage, their heads are still pretty damn screwed on, and they've been able to pull out some consistent results again and again. And having that level of consistency has really done wonders for them. It's been impressive. It really has been impressive to see how far they've been able to push themselves so far. The Malaysian squad that's really been flying the flag high. How much further does their journey take them? We'll see. Any big games in store, or will it just be little points here and there to keep themselves in the upper echelons? Meanwhile, for now, we're into our opening Erangel. We'll see what happens here, namely for one team as well. For my money, it's DX. DX obviously really having an unlucky start to the day. You don't have many games left, with the first Sandhawk basically being a fat thumbs down for them. What can they do here? Normally, a lot more on Erangel.
Yeah, and I mean, for DX, this is kind of where they start to shine, right? I think it's interesting that we do see the highest point average on our angle so far be Udo Alliance, considering they've got 0 chicken dinners. And, you know, speaking about that, right now, we've got 0 chicken dinners across the board for every single team in that top 5, which is sort of curious to me to look at. So very, very interesting in terms of the shakeup, in terms of the point standings. It's just that consistency, which is really taking a lot of these teams further. Inko, terrified of Nova Rep Neuer. Now they drop over towards that trash loot, over towards the western side of prison, and the circle will head hard down towards the southwest, encompassing a little bit of Sosnovka so far here, Jackie, keeping just that in slightly. Gladiators go for themselves some vehicles down towards that south side. Ducksand up towards that northern edge in Ferry Pier, and Team Queso trying to hit a little bit further towards that western edge.
Having a quick look to see if there was any room for some early fights, as we've already seen a couple of them today. Moments where teams know you do have to run a couple of risks. You've got to roll the dice a little bit to guarantee yourself some of those elimination points. But at least for now, it's looking relatively clean in terms of the early infighting. Nothing too obscene. Potential maybe for the Mad Bulls with the way that they're rotating around could run into phase. But if that kicks off, we'll update you with it. Zone-wise, fair amount of water as well, so landmass going to be worth its weight in gold. Definitely want to try and get your rotates in a little bit earlier and see how well you can set up for things. Enigma Galaxy as well. I mean, at least fair play, you know, you get that first chicken dinner in, you start it off a bit better, you go from dead last in the lobby to moving up towards 12th, and that's already a pretty good shift. But it's just the fact that you really have to break down the wall of this mid portion all the way up from 12th to 5th place. It's going to be so much more of a harder graft, right? You're basically looking at like 25 points minimum to even clear a majority of these teams. Even then, that's not going to put you in the top 5. And you're thinking constantly, as quick as we can gain points, everyone else can be at the same rate as well. So some targeted fights potentially going to need to be forced out from them. We'll see how they opt to approach it and how well they can play on these free Erangels as well. Ooh, hello.
Rock's a bit slippy, apparently. That Moss coming back to bite these teams from BTR on that last game. For CG Evo, sorry. But interesting, though. I mean, you bring a good point in terms of like the profit game as well, in terms of where Enigma Galaxy have to go, whilst also you're imagining some of these teams at the top side will continue to gain those points. It is a pipe dream, and it feels weird having to talk about it with the team being in 12th place. But yeah, for any of these teams down towards the bottom, clearing those points towards that top side is a possibility, right? With enough chicken dinners. It's just difficult doing it in this kind of lobby where getting those consistent chicken dinners on board with high elimination games is really tough, where there are so many great squads in this lobby. The reason that we didn't see such a massive shake-up in the standings after that last game in terms of the top side of the lobby is because a lot of teams towards the bottom of the leaderboards won out in that last match and won out big, and it was some more of our middling teams were able to get some points on board. So for Team Queso, for Prestige Evos, for FaZe, they did not move too much in that last match. Udo Alliance and IHC take up that mantle where DX and BTR were holding in before. So things haven't changed too much in terms of the goal to get towards that 5th place going forward, which is the big curious thing. Question is whether that's going to continue today, right? Is Team Queso just going to continue to let this slip? Is Udo Alliance and IHC, some of our more consistent teams, going to allow themselves to just keep losing out on points? And I just don't think that's the case. IHC already cracked the code in terms of mechanical skill yesterday, which is the tough part of the game. Now they just need to get the placements on board, which seems like after that last Sandhawk, doesn't seem to be too much of a big deal. Looking at the map though, Mad Bull sending center very, very early. Inco extremely close to Ducksand in Ferry Pier. Potentially a fight between them popping off fairly shortly. And Team Queso, our 3rd place team that was on fire yesterday, down towards Primorsk.
You know, I'm hoping as well, maybe there is a little bit more room today for the stock to rise for Reject Tokyo. Although I feel like maybe the difference to that is that they needed to, you know, really squeeze as much as they could out of that opening Sandhawk. And it looked good for them with the ridge side control that they had when they were taking pot shots down onto Enigma. That had me thinking, yeah, maybe today's the day. Maybe this is where they do start to spread their legs a little bit and actually have a good start. Because it always feels like they are only, you know, a couple of light adjustments away from actually getting big games out of it. We've seen how well they can play when everything is turning in unison, when they're looking like the well-oiled machine. So hopefully there's a little bit more room. Not going to be an easy journey for them, but it would be a sick storyline if they were able to command back some of that respect and get that momentum in their camp. For now, though, we'll look at the facts. All of our teams on the move, cruising in towards the new zone and trying to get themselves ahead of the pack a little bit earlier. The only 2 squads that are really deviating from this are going to be IHC, who is still down, looting around and taking their time before they start to course correct, and Udo Alliance that are also taking a bit of a slower approach to this. They can afford to as well. Both of these sides obviously in a good spot. You're in the safety net at the minute of the top 5, both tied with 53 points as well. blank. So it'll be interesting, the fact that they're mirroring each other's late rotates. We'll see how they play if they come head-to-head on the edge.
Yeah, for you to Alliance, it sort of makes sense considering like they're a very good edge team. So if they come in late, they're a comfortable team to play that late game, right? When you're on the outside, you're taking some fights going in, you're slowly working up your control. For IHC, on the other hand, Nova Apnoia is just so full of loot. A lot of times that you just want to get the massive amount of utility that's provided in that area. Level 3 vests available, huge amount of ammo count to fight your way through those later parts of the game. And we've been able to make a nice rotation on this eastern side, swing up towards the north and maybe push in through like Pachinki. That's not a bad idea for IHC at all. We'll see what they get up to off the back of that one, because it doesn't look like they're going to go for an eastern bridge push here with the way they're posturing on this side. Maybe just trying to stay out the blue for as long as possible before they inevitably have to head into it and wait for this next circle to pop first. So interesting stuff from IHC. For Yudo Alliance, definitely one of these plays that was expected for them. With this circle though, I'd fully expect IHC to deviate over towards that eastern side now, as opposed to pushing through the bridge on the western edge, because that is a dangerous push to make. But for FaZe, who's already claimed control over the majority of Quarry, this is great news for them. I say that, but I said that last game, Jackie, and they threw it away.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. It felt like, especially in the last game, you know, FaZe kind of did sort of tunnel vision, where from the front, they had a great lineup. You know, they were sort of just shooting fish in a barrel. But from the back, they were so exposed. They were right in the open. Everyone saw them and wanted a piece of the pie. And they were just taking pot shots at FaZe for free. And there was no easy way for them to defend. So you'd hope here it can be a little bit cleaner. We've seen just how well FaZe play when they're activated, when they're coming out swinging, especially towards the end of the day. It feels like they just get such an upwards draft. They have the Miramar buff that is always lying in the back pocket as well. So just having some consistently clean games here on the majority of the battlegrounds we're going to be seeing with the back-to-back Erangels is probably the dream scenario for them. Keep it clean, keep your heads above water. You've always got your safety net, comfort towards the end of the day with those Miramars. A bit of Gladiators on a move here as well, as they barely bypass their way through Duxan and co, just scouting out and starting to see what they can find. Obviously, very unlucky Gladiators going into Sandhawk. Just basically got picked off one by one and had no way of playing around each other. There was no room for trades whatsoever, and it felt incredibly fragmented. As we were saying, even in that game, though, you know, it feels like Gladiators basically chalked up to be left in the lower side of standings with how these games have been going. So for them, their grand journey not really being the big focal point, but just what they can do to either potentially ruin other teams' runs or be the knock-on effect for some squads to move through is the more interesting storyline there. Here they engage on the Rook, take a couple of shots, but nothing gained, nothing lost just yet.
Sara, though, will pick up Defo as he tries to make his way away from this engagement. You can see Reject a little bit further up the line here. They're towards the northern warehouses. Duello will finish off their fault there with the help of Sara. So Reject accrue themselves another elimination points. Rami goes down as well to Tulika as they send away as fast as possible. So for Rook, this is going very badly for them at the start of the day. Everyone's getting pitched in. Olio looks over towards BTR as they're attempting to get in on that eastern side. IHC very close by too, so could hear this engagement, potentially try and get in, but BTR's rotates just not looking as strong today. Luckily, able to take down the frontline member of Olio. Now Yudo Alliance in a little bit of a tougher spot for BTR, though. The vehicle's not really quite here at the moment. So we'll have to get back on this bike, move further in as the circle keeps shifting over towards this western edge. Mad Bulls have a little bit of a compound to play around with on this eastern side towards the fielded area. Looks pretty decent for them. See what they can get done with it. But it's Enigma Galaxy, once again, surprising. Decent rotate made on this southern edge. Can play from this.
And the basics have looked better from them, which does really bode well. You know, if you can at least play the basics cleanly, you set yourself up to have a little bit more stock when it comes to the harder plays. So Gladiators here eating some damage from the back line. That'll be IHC And IHC probably actually baited in by this one, thinking, you know what, if Gladiators are there, we're hitting some shots onto them. Maybe this is a side that we can squeeze the 3 points out of, and they might want to engage. They've jumped in the vehicle at least for the rotate if they want to swoop in on it. Bit of damage back onto Godless, as there's a few snipe shots going out from Matic with the Mini 14. Pushes right here as well, just off in the distance, keeping his belly down on the ground. And he's just going to be opening his ears up to listen about where all these audio cues are coming from, how they're playing it, and assessing if potentially he's going to be pushed or if he needs to go in for a fight to maybe get some points from it if there's an opportunity to do so. So slow and steady wins the race on this one. Gladiators finding their opportunity to exit stage left, do jump into vehicles and go for the quick rotate as the bullets was on by.
Yeah, it's pretty grim rotate for basically 3 teams here, but IHC, Reject, as well as Gladiators. Getting through Ferry Pier is always a tough time. There's a lot of weird sight lines that can open up as you cross through this area, so you'll be really careful with how you maneuver your way in. Besiege Evos do find YDO on the rotate, will look to flush him off here. The team's not ready to just give him up yet, though, as we do see Neos drop out the back of the vehicle. Zipian, this is what we're talking about. Kitsune goes down to that angle and will get flushed out too off the back of it. It's a tough rotate to make, and Duxan's doing a great job at holding on. They're on the northern edge of Ferry Pier, currently holding towards that tree line where you got sight lines looking down in towards Ferry Pier itself, with Zipian holding that front line over towards the western edge of Ferry Pier. Shaking up towards the center, though, BTR made a really quick rotate over towards the northern edge of the ridge, looking down over towards west side of Quarry. They do take a knock here, though, to break things up, with IHC making the same rotate, just following them in. This team is so confident in their gun skill and their gunfights. They're happy just to follow a rotate in and try and beat the team that made it to a spot before them.
You might get beat up, though, if you don't land just directly, as this isn't going to be an easy fight for any of these squads. Everyone on top of each other right now. Nades going over everyone's heads. Quick smoke plays coming up from BTR here as Lepar wants to at least block off some of the lines of sight, realizing how exposed they are in the dead center. Looks like IHC also landing a nice nade on that one. So Godless and Co, after having to roam on into this, looking to see if they can clean up nicely. They've got a lot of nades to work with. You have the 2 players in the vehicle as well, with Alex and Godless now diving out. The nade's going to land close at their feet. That one's actually chunky, blows them away. And BTR turning this one on its head. Wow. It looked like IHC has outplayed them, Blank, but they get finished off and completely shut down.
Pretty cruel timing on the nade as well, because I think they all pulled the pin on that one. They cooked it perfectly to send directly over the top side to the back line of IHC, but then in that moment they all just send into one singular spot, and those nades can just all be thrown at once. So when you're in a close area like that where the nades are all prepped and ready to go, instant death coming through for IHC. So 0 points, zero eliminations as well on this game for IHC. 53 points, which allows BTR to maybe reclaim their spot towards that top 5 and 6th place. 4 eliminations found from IHC themselves, but not what you wanted to see. Reject, though, dear me, Inco just gets the spray down. The rest of Reject coming in quick, but again, this sight line is open. If they get the smokes down quickly, potentially they get their teammates back up on their feet.
给你刷上来以后，男孩一个，猫一个，我一个，你一个。
Can they play it right? Can they reset the fight? Get their teammates back up? Nades going on over BTR. Ooh, they've got the info from it as well. Superboy went for the close drive-by so he can get the read. Knows what they're up to. Knows what Reject are doing here. Look at the nade onto Sara as well. Banking off the tree. Splash back to meanwhile, takes the bullet. Inco engaged onto DX. This fight drawn out for so long. BTR just ping-ponging back and forth from the left and right, taking peeks onto Gladiators. Ooh, you got the move up from Meku. He's trying to get close towards the tree line, using the smoke to give him cover. Not quick enough, though, as Gen 4s will hit that one, Blank. And they're really manhandling them. BTR doing a great job of outplaying 2 teams at once here.
Yeah, just 60 left after live here. Will go down. BTR up to a strong count of eliminations now with, I think that makes 7 potentially. Just the 6 as one of those eliminations was stolen away. That was fortunate timing on the rotate from Gladiators to BTR, which gives time for Reject to get back up on their feet, but they're taking more and more nades here as even Duxan starts to get involved. This has been a horrid rotate for Reject where it's been team after team coming their way, and BTR comes in to maybe clean up the finishing remaining members. Duello realizes he's just got to send away, potentially get some placement points off the back of this match. Cinco on the sidelines even taking shots towards Duxan. This has been a brutal position on the map here, Jackie, for so many squads.
Yeah, this is basically getting renamed as a graveyard right now, Blank, with how many squads have just been absolutely battered here. It's been wild. This fight's been so sustained for such a long time as well. Everyone just looking to barely limp out of it by the end of this when the dust has settled. Zone's going to get even smaller as well, so everyone will be ushered closer. Ooh, BTR still going to be in the safety net, as they are at least playing within their boundaries. Know that now squads that are further down have to come towards them, so you can gatekeep. You could basically be the bouncer that denies entry to a lot of these other big name squads as well, FaZe being one of them. So tons of talent down that side with BTR just sizing them up. Waiting to see if they can strike onto them. Reject again having a nice bit of ground to play with in terms of the high ground at least. They might have an angle down here if they want to read onto this one. They know BTR were right near them as well, so probably not wanting to let their guard slip too much. Nigma, can they hold on? I mean, you're being pushed in. Mad Bull's at least in the close compound, running around looking for these fights. Nades are going over. BTR seem to have been hit from FaZe as well. So one man's down. Misjump from Frozen. Doesn't get himself up on the roof. So they're still playing down in the muck right now. Oh, heavy hit onto Coops, though. Good comeback there on the shot.
This is pretty bad news there for BTR on the side, getting shot out by FaZe, but again, Reject still taking more fire. They've gone through so much meds at this point in time. Get up close. Freak goes down though. Lord very low. Apples want to get a little bit more done here. They had a strong position on that south side. Look to take down Nick Galaxy now. Tulika's in. Nice spray. And there is a quick response from the rest of the squad as well, not allowing Tulika to fall here. Nade's going upstairs. It's all popping off. Coops on low HP. Can't finish off that final member. There's a 360 as he comes in. Doesn't quite find it. Luckily, Fleeka's there at the end. And that looked messy from the Mad Bulls. Down to just one last solo player. That should have been a lot easier than it was. Everyone's lining up to get rezzed up as they know the sightlines coming through the window are horrendous. In the meantime, for CJ Evos, hot on pursuit of Brute Force.
Moment to stop and breathe for these teams. Mad Bulls, man, counting their blessings on that one. Resetting themselves and at least thinking forward now. Ooh, Brute Force, there's no going to be thinking today as you're done. Blue Zone takes you out of commission. Last man standing there on his Todd, finished off. FaZe.
当你在危害场不要面前使用鬼神父。
To spread their legs a little bit, start to move on up the hill as they want to get into a better position. They've taken a couple of shots from the hillside.
下次我先换衣服，待会儿基本上就是咱们直接杀过去。
Every bit of ground you take, as there's just so many squads here. Mad Bulls as well now after resetting, looking to reply potentially onto Papi and Co. as they're backstabbing. Papi Potro's right in close range with the DBS, swings wide onto the first. He's got backup as well from the rest of the squad, and it seems like Big Milo's going in to close the gap, jumped into the buggy. Meanwhile, they're going to be able to bounce their way through 2 members, make that 3 as the squad is being demolished and they all go down. Big Milo's the last to fall as he's taken out by Duxan. Tulika though gets lit up by the zone. Oh, they're getting close, Blank. They're right in their face, but this one is not easy. You're so exposed from so many angles.
Mate, the fact that Fleeke just flew through the vehicle, took down 2, I believe, and got an eliminate on the roadkill as well. It's kind of incredible off the back of that. FaZe now still trying to deal with Procedure Evos to keep sending nades in towards their location. It's an easily nadeable spot here on the side of the map. Redface still has 2 in the back pocket. Fleek sent in a couple of his own, but FaZe holding on. Trying to weather this one out as much as possible here, but the nades blowing up in their face, leaving them blinded.
Blinded from the fights that are going on all around them. Ooh, nades through the smoke. Bit of a reset then. Quick adjustment from Mela. Mela that really has been such a star player. Game in, game out. He has been the hype man for FaZe, commanding front and center on stage. Ventorez unfortunately being knocked down. He'll be taken out as Misery connects onto him. Flick shot back and forth. Redface gonna go down quick. Mela lucky to be alive. Low HP, has the nade to play with, but his feet are exposed and Misery will connect onto that. Takes down the size 12 shoes and looks to focus on Warman as well. Back up from the other side as Lynx is there to assist. And they're punishing them. FaZe are just being absolutely obliterated, Blank. Is there some sort of comeback to be had here?
Onzen's able to make it happen in the dire moments of that fight as well versus BTR. Little clutch up coming through from him. FaZe happy with the back of this game. 6 eliminations will do the trick. Mad Bull similarly trying to make it in on this south side, but they take another knock in the process. You can see Zerich trying to get into some semblance of a position, but rotating in from this south side of the map. You're just rotating directly into open area, and the best thing Mad Bulls could do here is just to try and get some more elimination points on the board. Speaking of eliminations though, Duxan with a hefty 8 so far. Really just going for some serious third parties all around the map at the moment. Onzen's barely any HP left remaining. Feeling a lot like the rest of the team on FaZe at the moment. Half dead right now. Frozen gets taken down by Junie, taking him up to a fat 9 eliminations here. And it's once again Junie who is pulling out the big numbers for this squad.
It's the way it goes. Whenever they need someone to show up most, Junie seems to be there. Don't know how he does it. He's got his wits about him. That spidey sense starts tingling and he finds opportunities to hit crack shots to snatch away elim points. For FaZe, their days are numbered now. You're still at that top spot and you're still at least gathering enough eliminations to keep your head afloat. Not going to go under the water yet, but you've got to have cleaner games if you want to be untouchable, if you want it to be entirely guaranteed. For now, they'll at least just lurk it out, wait for the other squads to duke, battle, and see who's left when it comes up to a position where you can grab additional placement points. So we'll see if FaZe resuscitate the potential placements later on this one. Doesn't seem like it anymore. Quick pop-up, and I think that's Junie once again. He's instantly just found the long-distance shot and wiped FaZe off the face of their battleground. So they're gone for good, and we start to whittle down our squads a bit more here on Erangel.
Dear me, this is a prime opportunity now for the guys on Duxan. Circle moves down towards his south side. The Ducks are all in a row towards the top side of the hill. Influence Rage, Judo Alliance, DX, Inco all have to move in. Inco looking for a good game here. They're kind of sat again in a compound as per usual. It's the Inco way. But realistically, what I'm looking at is Judo Alliance. Yeah, they've got 0 eliminations on the board, but again, it's another high placing from them. And that's from all the way in Mill to Power they move from. Influence Rage takes down Satar as he attempts to get out, but more nades that we know are so critical from the side of DX are pouring on over towards Judo Alliance, and they just cannot handle this one. Not grenade-proof clothing on today.
Shrapnel. Not going to be stopped. Ooh, Influence Rage might be stopped, though, on the close quarters connection as Lepar leaps out, cleaves round the corner, and does enough damage onto the man in front of him. They're going to be shut down bit by bit as Lil Boy is snatched away by Inco for the extra points. Lepar goes running. Oh, man. How has Duxan been able to find so many distance frags from this hill? They're looking unbelievable with the spray control, Blank, and that's another one. They do not stop. Binny is putting everyone in a bin.
13 eliminations as well. They're squeezing out some serious value from this game, Jackie. Sort of crazy the way they're playing this one now. Look, if we look at the way this lines up, there's 4 players on Inco, 3 over towards DX. If they're able to get all of them at the end of this game, look at a 20 elimination match coming through from DX going forward. So that would drop them 30 points upwards in the tables. It would be the most unbelievable climb Junie once again unleashing hell down towards the X.
All these shots just whizzing downhill and tagging them up. It's crazy how good Ducksan have been at just dealing damage from a distance in this game, and they're not stopping. Junie with some juicy frags today, Blank. That's another one, as he'll be able to knock another man. Squash, still standing, looking for those tracing knocks, seeing if he can keep his set focus, but it's Junie that does most of the work. And DX are gone. So Ducksan versus Inko then into the final fight. Their gun skill is unbelievable right now, Blank. Surely this has got to be one for the South Korea Massive.
This is an incredible circle for the squad over on Ducksan. Finally, they have to move though, but it's Inko having to leave outside this compound. Then a Betche up close though with that Val. Can Inko win out this game? Keep themselves in contention for that top 5. Already done quite a good amount of work here with the placement points on board, but for Ducksan, getting a win here with the 4 eliminations, 19 elim game, the biggest we've ever seen here in the last chance so far, would be absolutely... It would be ridiculous. It would be ridiculous.
The shenanigans of it, they'd be up there. Oh, the nade is crisp as well. It's not just the raw gun skill that's been big for Ducksan today. Seems like even the nades are on the money. And that one's huge. Blows him away onto his last legs now. Low HP on the rest of the players as they're being peppered. Rafa wasn't even visible. Man was in the smoke and he got smoked more literally, Blank, because he's gone for good now. All of them are being taken down one by one. It's just Squash that's left. He eats the molly as well, Blank. This has got to be it.
Zipian on the top side, looking down to the final player of Inko in Squash. This has been the craziest game from last chance so far. Zipian lobs a nade, but another will do it from QX. A massive elimination count keeps the boys' dreams alive from South Korea. That's going to send them soaring up the leaderboard.
Huge game there. Good resilience displayed from them. We said that one of the elements of Ducksan is that they seem to have good mental fortitude and a complete reset today. And they're ecstatic, Blank. It's wonderful to see them celebrating.
I mean, you just look at where they were before this game, right? The start of the day, 16th, start of this last game, 16th place, 15 points. That's going to send them to a very juicy 39 off the back of this one. What a game from them. That puts them right alongside with some of the players looking to overtake on that 5th place position. Junie looks back to rest, to sleep, to hold on for a bit longer, but mate, you can't sleep yet. There's still a lot more games to go, and the journey is not done for South Korea.
No, not at all. It's only just getting started. It's only just getting started. It definitely seems that there is a possibility we could be seeing a lot more from Ducksan here today. And what a wonderful story it'd be, man. It's so sick how many teams have just been going through these facelifts and really commanding respect when it feels like their days are numbered, when it feels like the chance of them getting enough points isn't going to happen. It's been really cool to see these storylines developing, Blank. And what a time to do it as well, right? It's last chance, it's last day, and we're getting closer and closer to there being a handful of games left. If you're going to start having blowout blinders like this, I'm living for it, Blank.
It is unbelievable, and it's only going to get less believable in the future. But there are only 3 lads that you can believe in. It's Jason Kaplan and the desk.
What is it about being last place today and getting a massive game? Max, you brought that up. Ducksan getting a huge game that honestly puts him within reach of potentially making top 5 today. We almost counted, Ducksan out. We pretty much counted my Galaxy out at the start of the day. But there is a world, there's a possibility if they continue like this that we could see the top 5 shake up even more than it already has today.
Yeah, we're getting at a point though, Jason, where this window of opportunity is slowly reducing. I think that last place teams are not going to be able to do insane comebacks anymore. Maybe Mad will get to win after this, I don't know. But what an insane game from Ducksan, able to just clear the entire southern edge against Procedure Evos against FaZe, against Mad Balls, against Reject also a bit early in this match. They were just the kings of the South and able to then play that high ground position. The moment you eliminate Xavier, you can even play the lower side of that hill and just completely obliterate the entirety of Inco. What a match. 29 points right here. Is that a record for...
Yeah, is that our biggest game?
I think it is. Yeah.
I think so. Woo. That's cool, Max. But South Korea's back. It's time for Ducksand. Bow down, South Korean overlords. Here we go. The recovery is on. I mean, look at them at the end of that game. They were celebrating as if they'd won the tournament. And it's not all done just yet here, but that might give them the kick up the rear that they need, because before this, they really needed it. That was massive.
From copium to hopium right now for Colombia.
Woohoo!
It went. It's happening.
Yes.
I mean, it is possible, but the problem is we've not seen Ducksand have any sort of replicative results in this match before, in any of the prior matches so far within our survival stage. I mean, Junie putting up 1,000 damage. Claris, please do the honors.
Ooh.
There we go.
There we go.
It's actually a lot more than I expected for 1,008 for just barely breaching the point. But Ducksand, you can see here, 10th place. They were at bottom of the table. They are at 44, and all it takes is 11 points to tie up Xavier and Fit. Like that is nutty. That is honestly ridiculous.
And it's important because we saw at one point, right, Jason, where top 5 teams had 0 chicken dinners. So getting those wins, if you're able to just get close to the top 5, that tiebreaker could also have an impact. So those wins are really, really important for those tiebreaker scenarios. But look at this massive highlight. You just have so many teams highlighted for a possible change here in the top 5. But
it should be more.
Technically it should be a lot more, like Rook, Ducksand, Inco, Reject, Mad Balls can still catch up, of course, but it's all... come on, it could. You still have 4 matches, Jason, okay? Anything can still happen here, but it's... I don't know what to expect again, because you have teams that we are expecting to be a bit more silent, like your Ducksand, just have a massive...
当你在文爱丈母娘面前使用贵是服务。
At this point, you just don't know how things are going to wrap up for today. It's unpredictable.
And this is what I love about our map rotation as well, because yes, that was only our first Erangel of 3 today, and the next 2 are coming up back to back. So Ducksand, if they can replicate that performance in the next 2 matches, they potentially, well, they should be able to, if they can replicate that, easily be in top 5. But obviously the pressure is going to be starting to mount here. I don't know what to say, gentlemen. I'm pretty happy with how today's gone. Enigma Galaxy starting off strong, Ducksand starting off strong as well. Who's it going to be this time?
Not gladiators. I'll leave it at that.
Good point.
Okay. I think that's all we need to be left at. With that, nice burn that you pulled off against Gliders, maybe people can cool it down by playing in the Frost Festival, which is now out in PUBG Mobile. You guys can download the update and start to participate with snowboards, with snowmen, with snowball mounds, everything related to snow. What else would be in there?
You can also grind some rails in the snow village. That's really cool. I do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't do it in real life, so I might as well do it in the game. One thing as well you can't really do well, I hope you wouldn't do in real life, is win 1v1 duels on our 2023 Popularity Annual Gala. I don't know where I'm going with this. For November 15th to December 19th, you guys can participate, win some exclusive rewards. You can show off to your friends, and obviously dunk on your enemies. Not to mention, you can also do that with the Pagani collaboration. Squash, maybe if it was the Pagani Amola or the Zondar, it would have been enough to run him over completely for all of his help thinking back to Sandhawk, but not this time. And then also, you can see Ducksand maybe use the Victor Dance. You guys can pick up for yourselves to help support PMGC and, of course, root on your favorite teams here within this event. But then again, we only have 1 day left, so make sure you guys pick it up now, even though there's still some more days for you guys to secure that one. But we're going to head to a short break. We're going to get things ready to go for our second Erangel of the day, our 3rd match. Ducksand, give them some time to cool off here as we're looking to do a repeat performance here in our 3rd match of the day. Loving seeing the smiles here out of Duxan. Obviously, I mean, even Kalaris was smiling and rooting and getting all of his South Korean memorabilia out to start rooting for our new overlords, potentially in the lobby, but they still have a while to go here to claim that title, Kalaris. But we saw D+ go out, maybe trying to redeem them here is their brethren team of Duxan. My question is, who is it going to be next? You said not Gladiators. Inko, I think for them, having a big match here would be the perfect jumping off point to get challenged in the top ranks. But at the same time, I'm like, Duxan, Inko, every team we want in top 5 means there's another team who can't make top 5. Like, for instance, right now, Influence Rage.
I think we're going to have some big upsets here. But Influence Rage, it is so weird we haven't seen a replica of what we had in the survival stage, if that makes any sense. Because right now they...
I made it difficult earlier with what I said. Trust me, yeah, I messed that up bad.
I don't know. But they were just so good on the elimination front, right? And I think that it's not off the back of them performing worse, which in a way they are, but it's just teams have improved significantly at the bottom that now points are so much tougher to get here, Jason. So Influence, they need to go even harder in this next game.
We're going to find out. We're going to throw it back to our casters to hop into our third game of the day. Jackie and Blank, take it away.
If they're going to do it, we need to see them like fully wizarding up right now, Blank. I want Influence Rage going full Hulk. You know, they've got to let out the rage, not keep it in. I want it everywhere. Rage all over the shop.
Yeah, I need a full pyro blast coming out from the guys in Influence Rage here. I need them to absolutely destroy the competition if they want to make their way up to there. And honestly, to have 3 Brazilian teams get in towards that PMGC Grand Finals would be crazy for the region overall. I'd love to see it, but right now it's all about these bottom teams. For some reason, it's always day 2. They start showing up. They're like, we're running out of time. Suddenly the pressure's on. And some of the other squads like Udo Alliance, they keep it chill. They're yawning. They're relaxed. They're just vibing it out at the moment. I think we are going to have a little bit of a rehost coming through. So we'll get the game ready for you as soon as possible. But Duxan, man, that was wild.
No, it really was. It really was, man. It is sick to see. Anhasayo to the Korean viewership out there, because this team is doing you proud today. And it's sick, man. It's kind of what we were hoping for, you know. Remember, Blank, there was the storyline that we were really excited about, that was the fact that it looked like we were going to have 2 South Korean teams make it through even into this stage, right? With D+ also playing a blinder. Basically being guaranteed we would have seen them until FaZe did FaZe shenanigans and ruined their dreams, went off on a huge stomp to guarantee their ticket to be here. So some real big storylines there, and it's more just the gun skill, the way that they're doing it, looking very impressive on that game. Is it sustainable though? I would like to see it, Blank. I would love to see them really going on an absolute tear now and linking some games back to back and showing that it's not a fluke, you know, because during regulation as well, they were a good side. They were a team that was pretty impressive. So the fact that they looked a little bit shaky mechanically and now they're making a run for their money, I'm glad. I just hope it's one of those stories that keeps on going. You know, it isn't like we read one chapter and then the rest of the book has been ripped out.
Or just really bad in general, and you're like, where's chapter 1 gone? Chapter 2 sucks. But the thing is, for Duxan, right, they started off in their group stage really strong, right? They were up towards the top side of the lobby. Then they fell off, and they had kind of a little bit of a sprint, and then it was over. So we do have sort of a coin flip situation where this isn't a lot of games left, right? You've got technically 4 in the bag, 3 considering the next ones after this. But for Duxan, is this going to be a case where they sprint out for 4 matches, or do they just go back to being rinsed by the rest of the lobby? Because quite frankly, they have been, honestly. So for even in survival stage, they didn't look amazing. They got through, yes. In last chance, they looked really, really bad yesterday. And I think that's fair to say, right? But that last game does show that they are a really strong team, because it takes a very strong team to finish out a game with 19 eliminations and the chicken dinner off the back of it. Yes, they got a little bit lucky with that circle shift. Unfortunate where the circle was, where they have full high ground and it's practically only open ground underneath them. But you still close out the game with a strong amount of eliminations with some great third parties going on earlier. I don't know if it can be kept up. We'll have to wait for this next game to see it actually happen. FaZe, on the other hand, up to 69 points. Nice. But again, some of these games have been a little bit weird. It's better than we've seen from in the past, though, getting some points. But yeah, I'm curious to see what goes down, because again, it's just a lot of these bottom squads that are starting to push their numbers, where 5th place becomes terrifying at the moment, because 55 points down to 12th place at 40 points. That's one good game, not even a chicken dinner. One good game with some strong eliminations, you're in.
I guess, you know, that's the bit that makes it kind of harder to call as well, is because with this format, where it is only top 5, normally one of the kind of things we look at is point vacuum teams that are having huge gains and sucking up all the points, you know, guaranteeing themselves that they're towards the top set. Whereas with it being such a small number of you, if the top end teams are guaranteeing, you know, spots 1 through 2, spots 1 through 3 are basically out of reach, it's the fact that we do have a whole lobby constantly cycling just over the, you know, the potential idea of 2 spots, blank, 2 spots that are a thimble of points apart from each another. It's really, really crazy the way these games have been going and the fact they've been delivering in this manner. I think storyline wise, we've done really well. Like the script writers behind the scene, 10 out of 10. It's been a banger for the way some of these games have been going. I guess at this point, it's in their hands. We'll see. Ducksound, though, look at the energy. Already, this makes me think that there is more to be said. You saw the celebration, the relief, the way that they kind of did come back to reality after winning that previous game. Now they're screaming, now they're yelling, they're looking like they're hyped up, blank. That's what I want. That's how you know this South Korean side is going to absolutely give it. And we are back on Erangel. Another game, another chance for points, but less and less opportunity for the squads that are down the bottom. They've all been showing up. They've all been putting up some big numbers, blank, but they have to go above and beyond now as we get back into it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The mental game is absolutely huge over towards these matches. And for Ducksan, getting a big win like that can be the type of adrenaline that you need injected into the system to get more on board. We'll wait and see, though, as we head over towards our second angle of the day here. I'm excited to see what pans out. Mad Bull's already out. Team Queso down towards Quarry and IHC, flitting up towards Hospital. Obviously, that last game didn't go too hot for IHC, going out really, really early on a rotate where they just could not handle the guns coming through from BTR, where they were just swinging left, right, and center, taking teams out wherever they could. They got some decent eliminations off the back of that game. Didn't get too much further into it, but regardless, for BTR, not a bad match in terms of displaying of potential in this one. But a very fair playing path to start things off here. I think most teams pretty pleased with this one. We'll see if we get any hot drops, but I think most teams have put the idea of hot drops behind them. Not willing to go for those risks early on, potentially lose your chance at a big point scoring game. Well, you desperately need it on this last day.
Oh, you do indeed. You need some big games. You need them to happen back to back. That's what it's all about here, as little mistakes will add up. They will cost you gravely the longer things go on. Nice touchdown in the blue here. Dip the toes, splash some water on your face, and get yourself nice and woken up for Inco as they grab themselves a boat for the rotate and focus on the future. Rook scouting this one out as well, as Eugene's there. He was a little bit closer. Maybe there would have been an opportunity to potentially try and take some shots into him. With the range here, I don't know if he's going to get a lucky day on this one.
Yeah, maybe not. But blowing up the boat, somewhat of a bigger potential on this one. With the amount of bullets in the magazine, might have been something available for this. Pulls out the M16 to try and get it done afterwards. Neos, Brute Force seems to be suffering time and time again to influence Rage. A bit of a rivalry between these two squads as Brute Force constantly harries them. This time around didn't go so hot. Rook, though, traveling in the water alongside the guys from Inco, looking to take them down. They've all jumped out the boat here, deciding it's not worth it. Technically, Rook could get in the boat of their own, hunt them down. Doubt that's going to happen, though. For Rook, rather just send it away. This is a team that's doing extremely well at holding those central positions, but recently just not been able to find those spots, getting taken out here and there, losing members, hemorrhaging. It's been feeling fairly bad for this team, and I think we had high hopes for them yesterday.
Yeah, we did. I think that it's one of those where, from what we'd seen in the past, we knew they did have a lot of stock to them and that they could really put up some big benchmarks when they were playing as a well-oiled machine, when everyone was able to perform to the best of their ability, really. But there's been gaps, there's been some small mistakes, and those add up. Those will cost you. So it's a shame. But you never know, man. There's always opportunity. There's always still room to breathe. It's just the fact that if you are going to have a complete facelift, had to happen about a game ago, really, for some of these squads. So always down to the wire. Julo here might be given a bit of a gift, though, as there is some aquatic Inco gamers on the way. He's on the dry dock looking out, trying to see if he can spot anyone here as he does a bit of looting. This is sort of like being down at the Loch Ness towards, a late evening blank, and all of a sudden you see a bit of a monster pop out of the water. That was the Loch Ness monster for a second there. There it is.
I mean, honestly, for Inco, this is a bit of a bad time. You can see Vitali here. He's got nothing. No vest, no helmet, no weaponry. Just waiting for Reject to leave to hope that they can get a little bit of loot on. Duello maybe spots out some players here, potentially. Oh, he's missed it. He had a gander, but immediately they went underwater, submerged, like submarines. Duello has no clue.
See, this is how it goes, Blank. That's literally the case. You're always a stone's throw away from potentially seeing something mythical. But he's missed it. The Loch Ness monster submerges its head. He drives away. That was the chance, Blank. He could have proven it to be a real animal there. Found the dinosaur still alive in modern days. Instead, he's given them timing to get up on dry land. And they can do a bit of looting now. Whereas previously, like you said, they had nothing to their name. So that would have been the entire Inco squad, basically thrown into a blender in a matter of minutes there from Reject. But no, they will pass each other like ships in the night. They're allowed to move on to land. And their troubles, for now, at least, past them.
Sort of funny, the fact that Duello came through, picked that entire dock clean as well. So really not much available for that squad in Inco. I think the difficulty comes in for Reject later on, the fact that they have no clue that Inco is behind them. That's the type of thing that will really grind your gears later on, where suddenly you're getting backstabbed by a team and you have no clue how they're here this early. BTR also moving through. Inco, everyone stops, freezes, doesn't move a muscle. This is all about just pretending to be mannequins here, still as a statue, to evade detection.
Does a good job. Isn't going to be given a 50p coin for his troubles as a silver statue, but he will stay alive, and sometimes that's worth more. As BTR will bypass him and start to drive on into the zone, making their move. They're relatively hot on the tail of Reject as well, that have just pulled up just beneath Pachinki as they get into the area. Influence Rage are also coming on down as well, so they might run into each other. We'll see how that goes on a pathing if they come across one another on their move. Daksan